Welcome back to our Dream in the Woods. Today, kind of trying to get organized to start building these bents, and besides getting all the parts and pieces, components all together so they're here on site, got my brother over here, Sam. We're going to try to make some sawhorses, and I mean, we're putting together a pretty massive structure. I think I need 10, which seems like a lot, but I think it's going to be what we need. So anyway, kind of a basic design. We'll get a prototype built up and I'll show you what we're talking about. All right, this is the prototype. Only thing that's missing is I'm going to put a little piece of plywood on the ends, maybe like a 5-inch piece, to tie that in underneath this eye right here. Taking big GRK screws, 6 1/8. Putting 3 on them on each side. Those definitely seem like they add some strength. And yeah, simple design. Looks a little low, but we're going to put a 6-inch beam on top of that, so then I think that becomes pretty comfortable working height for us. Everything's 12 degrees, and so cutting the legs to 12 degrees, and then this angle I cut in here is 12 degrees. So yeah, everything's fits tight to the top and then tight to the sides. So little detail there, kind of worth the time. We've already cut out all the legs. Now we just have to cut out all the I-beam pieces and trim the bottoms, and we'll be putting together. Going pretty good? Going great. Let's get back to it. All right, we got all the bottom, or the I-beams, cut and put together. Legs are all done. Starting to do assembly. Going 3 inches in on the legs. Pre-drilling for those big structural screws. Yeah, making sure they're square with the square. And I had overbought on the wood. I thought I can only get 2 legs per 2x4, but I can get 3. So it saved quite a bit. So we're able to make 2 more. So we'll have 12 altogether. So a lot faster with 2 people. Lots faster. All right, you might have seen this bracket prototype out on the concrete slab, but we've been busy. So these are all the brackets that are needed, all out of 1/4-inch steel, and a local guy, Jeff, CNC Table Works, made all these brackets and welded them up. So the dimensions are, everything's 6 inches wide and then it's about 5 inches that way, and 12 inches tall. The plates are 12 inches tall. So 3/4 inch wedge bolts, 6 of them. I'll have to make a recess in the bottom of the beam to accommodate those 2 bolts, and a little chamfer on the edge to accommodate that weld. So, but those are sturdy, and then they'll have 2 through bolts on the sides, 1/2 inch, 7.5. And then these are the T brackets. We beefed these up and made them bigger, and so they are 7 inches there, should be 7 inches there. Those are both going to ride on a 10-inch 6x10 beam and post. And then we went out 14 inches on the tongue part of it, and down about, I guess the whole thing here is 20 inches. So each one of those weighs a lot. I don't know, 20 pounds, 25 pounds. That pallet is super heavy. So each post will get 2 sets of those, and there's 2 posts, so 8 per post, the big tall ones. And then these are the brackets from the main post to the rafter beam, and the dimensions on those, 4 inches by 7, so nothing too big on those. Kept those the same, but we definitely went bigger on the T brackets. Jeff was nice enough to let me come out and do some filming, and Eric and I both went out there and kind of watched this CNC machine work. Just kind of fascinating how that works. and how efficient and smooth the cuts are and everything. And then I think his son did most of the welding as far as the brackets go. So that's what it's going to take to do a whole barn. That's the pile, 2 layers of brackets and all the T brackets and all the little straight ones. So then all that, once it was welded up, went to a powder coater here in town, and he was nice enough for me to kind of go in there and take a look at that process. Most impressive thing is the sandblaster is no joke. One of the guys I was chatting with, and he hit his arm one of his first days, and it tore the skin open. So you need to be careful with that thing. But man, it really cleans them up. And then the process is they're hanging, and the tip of that gun puts an electric charge on the particles, and that's what makes them adhere to the metal. And then they go into a big oven and they bake for about 35 minutes, if I remember, about 325 degrees. So not super hot, not super long, but then they come out pretty boil proof. These have been sitting outside, so they're a bit dirty, but in the end, they should all be nice and clean and protected like that. So cost for those, I'd have to get an exact cost, but it was costly to have that many brackets made and powder coated. Geez, I think Beth will put it in the comments of how much the two components, two bills were. So I think around $10,000 for those brackets to have them cut and powder coated. All right, starting to stage stuff out here. I've been slowly collecting things. Some of the stuff I ordered months and months ago. These are the anchor wedge bolts, 3/4 of an inch by 5.5. That's what those look like. And I can't remember the rating, but they are rated strong. There's going to be 6 of those in each bracket, 5.5 inches deep. There's a lot of them. So how much per box? 50 per box, so 250 anchor bolts there. Seems like plenty. And going on to the bolts, these are 1/2 inch by 7.5 inches. And they are rated A307. That was important, I know that. And then I went with a nylon lock on there. Not sure if I'm going to use washers or not, but I got a lot of them. So how many per box? I think that they're 250, 90 pieces per box, 6 boxes, plus some extras. So there's a lot of those. There's a lot of drilling, a lot of plates. And then the main screw that we're going to be using is this Wood Pro 3/8 by 8 inch screw. So that'll be all of the joints and the timbers. If there's not a mechanical plate there, they'll get, I'm going to try to do 3 to 4 of those per joint. So these 5/16 by 4 inch, those are to put all the girts on the outside. So true 2 by 6, and I think that there's 2 per connection, but I'm not certain of that off the top of my head. 250 per box, 750 of those. So this is the start of the nuts and bolts project for what it takes to build this barn and attach it to the concrete pad. So what's next? Okay, this is the next toy, birthday present, whatever you could call it. This is a timber cart. Went back and forth, thinking maybe I could make one. Finally pulled the trigger on it. Timber carts. That's that guy's name. This has motorcycle tires on it, so it can carry 1,200 pounds, 1,250 pounds, something like that. And then those little yellow things there are weights at the bottom, and so it's self-leveling, so one person can run it. Put the timber on it, roll it to where you need it to go. So it's going to be a time saver and a back saver, I think. I think we'll be using that every day. Okay, back at the sawhorse project. We ended up making 12. 11 of them sit very good on the concrete. For someone, this one here is a little off, and so I need to do some work on that one. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with it, but try to figure it out. The last step on this project is I have a bunch of plywood brackets, and after I know that they're sitting nice and flat, then I'm just going to screw that in there, something like that. So they all look to be about the same height and should have plenty to support one bent. I could make those on the ground and then build them as we go up, but we decided that we're old enough that we want to work off a sawhorse. So we're making sawhorses. The other thing is I bought these 2x4s, you know, and why didn't you just mill them up? I mill lots of stuff, but usually it has a different purpose, and I just haven't milled any 2x4s maybe ever. So I just bought all Home Depot stuff, and for $336 a board, I think it was worth my time. So anyway, good project. Get back to it here, get all those end posts put on and fix that one sawhorse, and this project will be complete. All right, this is another tool I purchased. I got this used, and then I just put a new blade on there, and it's a 16 5/16. And the whole key to this is right there. It cuts more than 6 inches, about 6.5 inches, 6 3/8. And so I'm planning on using this as my main beam saw. Everything is 6 inches or less. Well, it's all 6 inches, I guess, 6 and then just thicker. So put a new blade on it. We'll see how it cuts. I just need to make sure that it's 90 degrees, which I haven't done yet, but I picked that up off of Facebook Marketplace, so seems to work. Also got this tool cart. I just figured that it'd be handy to have that out here and have all the tools on it, and just roll it to where you need it. So actually this is my second one. My first one is in pieces over here because it came without any legs. So maybe I will try to figure out how to make some legs for that and have a second one. It did come with wheels, no hardware, so I can try to figure that out. So this is the other tool I purchased. I bought this used off of eBay out of Japan, and I'd seen other people do that, and it seemed like it worked just fine. This is a hand planer that is a beast. Over 12 inches of cutting, so I'm hoping to just make one pass down the timbers and make it pretty efficient is my plan. There was quite a few to choose from, and how I chose this one was that the bottom face of that plate was in good shape. Some of them were nicked up or marred up, and they would show that. So I spent a little bit more money on this one, but I'm hoping that everything runs good on it. The blades that it came with all seem good, no nicks, but I did buy an extra set, so I have those to change out, because I'm sure at some point I'll need to do that. So anyway, that is going to be a workhorse. The timbers don't have to be perfectly planed. I just want to get the rough off and clean them up a little bit. So hoping that does the trick for us. Last thing I did was get all my tools out here, and I decided to go with these DeWalt cases. If it's rainy, they can seal up, and even though we're undercover, I think it would be handy. I'm not sure it was worth the cost of those or not, but I get thinking about something, and that's what I did. Well, I hope you found this video to be useful of how I prepared. I've been thinking about it for a long time, and kind of to the point where everything's coming into play. The one thing that's not on here that I haven't included is I did buy that Genie S40 lift. That was the neighbor's. We used it over at Eric's last year, and he drove a hard bargain. He old, I call him old pretty blue eyes, but he's in his 80s, and I didn't come out. I came out okay, but he didn't. He got a good deal also. So anyway, that'll be over here within the next week, 10 days, and I plan on using that for the build, and then it'll get sold. So anyway, things are coming together. Progress is being made, and we'll be putting timbers together before long. So appreciate everyone watching. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.